Hello, ABGs and ABBs. Welcome back to another episode of Asian Boss Girl. We are a podcast for the modern day Asian American woman. I'm Janet.
I'm Helen.
And I'm Mel.
Okay, so apologies. I might sound like my voice is a little bit shot, and I don't know, ladies, how are your vocal cords feeling this morning?
Mine are pretty bad too.
I sound great.
Mel, actually, you do. You sound very refreshed. You went home a little earlier yesterday, which is probably the smarter thing to do.
So yesterday we were actually out for one of our friends' birthdays, Kathy.
Yes, shout
Hi,
out
Kathy.
to Kathy.
She's actually an avid listener of the podcast. She was telling us how she's all caught up, listened up to episode
She's quoting
9.
the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
Asking Mel about, you're actually going out on a Friday night. Shouldn't you be sleeping in, getting rest?
But yeah, we had a great time. We actually attended a surprise birthday party that her husband threw for her. It was so cute.
So cute.
Dude,
Very,
husband
very cute.
awards.
Husband
Yeah.
award of the year for sure, or husband of the year award for sure.
We also can't talk today.
Yeah, I can't talk.
So Kathy is one of our few married friends that we have. Speaking of which is something we wanted to talk about today.
Marriage.
Dun, 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 dun.
Thanks, Kathy, for the transition.
Marriage and weddings specifically. So I wanted to ask you ladies, it's a pretty popular topic for young girls growing up that, you fantasize about your wedding and maybe the venue and, oh my gosh, do I want a destination wedding? What is my dress going to look like? What is the ring that I want? Was that the case for you guys growing up?
Mel looks like she's in dreamland right now.
Her eyes are floating.
I'm a little glazed
I
over.
love this topic.
No, literally, as Janet's like, your destination. I was like, nope, no destination wedding. Wedding dress. Yeah, I know exactly what I want. I definitely was that girl that grew up knowing what I wanted. I fantasized about my
So
wedding.
let's step through then. So let's talk about dresses.
All right, so I have to admit, I was that girl that used to watch TLC, the channel, not the group, even though the group is great.
Okay.
Right? I would watch the show called Say Yes to the Dress.
Oh, yes. I've heard of that one a lot.
That's a good show.
From a lot of girlfriends.
Totally binge watched it, and pretty much these potential brides go to this store called Kleinfeld's in New York, and they buy dresses, like wedding dresses. And it's a whole ordeal because girls get crazy. But I watched that show to kind of get an idea as to what I want for a wedding dress. And it's kind of crazy because wedding dresses can go up to $12,000.
They can get very expensive.
Expensive, right?
Yeah.
Probably more than that. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put like real diamonds
Like
everywhere.
all that stuff. But so for that show, I realized like I definitely don't want to spend more than $2,000 on a dress.
Oh my God, Mel, you already know the budget for your dress.
I think in terms of silhouette, I never wanted a ball gown. I wanted just as simple as an A-line dress.
You don't want to be a princess? Like a
I
Disney
don't.
princess? Belle?
Definitely not. That does not sound attractive to me. How about you, Helen?
So I actually am not as obsessed with my future wedding.
Shit, am I obsessed?
I don't know much detail about what it's going to look like other than maybe the venue, but I have thought about dresses. I mean, just seeing friends and like TV shows and whatnot. I do think the like mermaid cut is really nice.
Oh.
Because it like shows your booty.
I was gonna say,
Helen and the booty.
Accentuate the booty. Either that or an A-line probably. Yeah, but yeah, I agree. Not like a trumpet or just because it has the name Trump in it.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't want that dress.
Okay. A-line, what exactly, as we're using all these terms, A-line and mermaid, what is, the A-line is the one that goes.
So I think the A-line, correct me if I'm wrong, Mel's looking it up right now, but I think it goes to your waist and then it kind of like flares out.
Oh, okay.
Versus like a modified A-line, I think it goes down to your hips and then it flares out. So a little bit more like body hugging.
Gotcha. And then mermaid is like, it hugs all the way to the bottom and then flares out? Is that-
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like a mermaid
Mermaid
tail.
tail.
That makes sense.
You would want that. Sorry.
Trying to show off the booty.
Right?
Gonna work it out before.
How about Janet? Honestly, Janet, I could kind of see you in a pantsuit.
Oh.
Because you're so simple. It's like Sarah Jessica Parker in Sex and the City.
Does she wear a pantsuit?
Okay, wait, time out. Do you guys watch the movie? I don't want to ruin what she wore for her wedding.
No, I did.
No. Yeah, I watched the movie. So I think I'm similar to Helen in that I didn't really grow up fantasizing about my wedding. I had a lot of girlfriends that did though, but I don't know, when they started talking about stuff, it would like stress me out to think about planning. And I think I probably would, dress-wise, I would go simple. but I don't even like know what the options are. I mean,
Maybe
yeah,
we need to pull it up for
I would love
Is your
to.
Pinterest board, Mel?
I mean, yeah, you want to see my board? It's on private right
Wait,
now.
this is kind of crazy that Janet and I do not really care about the details of our wedding, but
Yeah.
we are like at least 5 years older than Mel over here, who knows every little detail about her wedding.
I mean, I think it depends on the girl, right? Some girls grow up
Right.
fantasizing about it. Some girls don't care, and then they eventually do.
I think it is for me. It's more like when that time comes. Once I get engaged,
Right.
the clock's gonna be ticking. I'm gonna know every single detail of what I want and like plan then. But I think just the thought of like planning is very daunting.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a lot of work.
I find it really exciting. I think it's naturally I am a planner. Like I think about what am I going next year? What am I eating for dinner a few days later?
Really?
Yeah.
Mel, you are a planner.
I
That's
am.
true. That's true.
So it's like
I
no-
like
no
knowing what's
surprise.
going- Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
so
can
for-
plan our weddings.
I mean,
Well, okay, so dresses aside, what else, Mel, do you envision? Like, what is the most detailed thing that you know for sure is going to be at your wedding?
okay, so one thing that I already have on lock that I definitely want is venue. So for me,
Okay.
it's where I get married.
And where is that going to be?
I have a venue in mind.
Do you already have the date in mind? Is it
I
already?
know.
I have a certain like seasonal time I'd prefer, but in
Okay.
terms of venue, I always wanted something that I could overlook the ocean, but not be on the beach because that's kind of messy. You know,
That
you're
is so
you're-
specific.
And
No,
I
I agree with that.
On the
I
ocean,
agree
but
with
not
that.
on the beach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe
Okay, so like
you
a
know,
cliff.
A cliff.
There's a lot of those in LA. We got,
Yeah, I actually have a venue in mind.
You want to say it out to the world?
Yeah, I'll
So-
say which venue I've been eyeing. But to be honest, I checked the price range and I'm just like, oh shit, can't afford this. I've been eyeing the St. Regis Monarch in Dana Point, California. It's beautiful. It has
My
like the
girlfriend's
columns,
that, yeah.
and if you go past the columns, you see the harbor and like the beach. And I was like, that's ideal, and it's on this grand lawn.
When was the first time that you saw this location? Were you actually there, or did you
Yeah.
just see pictures?
I think I probably was on Pinterest and typed in wedding venues, and I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. Just my spare time during lunch, just randomly browsing.
Wait, you mentioned season too. What time of year?
Luckily, we live in LA, so it's always sunny.
Yes.
So either from March till
like
November.
spring.
Spring is ideal.
Summer, fall. You're
Yeah,
open
but
to.
also to keep in mind, when you go to spring, the prices will increase.
That's true. That's popular
Jeez.
wedding season.
Exactly. So you
Because
have to keep
also,
that in mind.
I think you mentioned this, Mel, like flowers are they're in bloom then, so it's a popular time for.
Yes. So if you want certain flowers, I don't know the exact time, but is it peonies?
Peonies.
Peonies. I
Yeah.
can't pronounce my flowers right. But I don't think they're in season in fall, so I don't know if would have it in fall, but I feel it'd be more cheaper to have a venue in fall than spring. So sorry, I'm like literally planning out my wedding out loud right now.
We're all just here
This is
living in
good
Mel's
because-
world.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for me to like think about too. Like, oh, I need to think
Yeah.
about when peonies bloom. Like,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people also consider destination weddings, but for me, I didn't want to consider that because I feel like for convenience, it's easier for my family to fly down to Southern California versus fly to a different country or state. But I did hear from my friend that if you want to limit your capacity
yeah.
and kind of have more flexibility with who to invite,
right.
go to a destination wedding because
Yeah.
not everyone can make it.
Exactly.
yeah. So my sister, she got married. It was like about 3 years ago now. So she had a destination wedding in Hawaii, and it was so beautiful. And she had 80 people there, which was like perfect. There was only like one table for the adults, so like
Oh.
parents and grandparents, and everyone else was just friends. And it was close friends. They all got together. They like flew in from different parts of the country, and it was open bar, and it was gorgeous.
Wait, Janet, have you thought about a venue?
So I've actually had some friends that have done their ceremony at a courthouse, and in California, like San Francisco, Santa Barbara, they're actually really beautiful courthouses. They're like converted from like old churches, and I feel like that's kind of nice and easy, and just get the thing done and then you can go do the reception.
That sounds very Janet, actually.
It does.
I did also think about eloping, but then I thought about, well, that's my preference, but I don't necessarily know what my future partner's preferences might be, because I've seen like my cousins and some of my friends, like they also maybe didn't want a big wedding, but the person they ended up marrying was like maybe like their family, it was really meaningful to them. Their parents wanted to invite all these people. So it's like, even though we might have fantasies of our own, like I don't know what my future part, like I can't account for that. I'm not sure what that's going to be.
That's true.
That's true. So how many people would you invite? Would you invite us?
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank God.
But, I mean, I feel like it's, like, weird to even fantasize about weddings because I'm, like, a huge missing component. Man.
It's okay. I've been planning my wedding for the past 25 years and I've been single for a lot of it.
That the like, cutout of the groom is, like, kind of a last-minute detail.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't even matter.
Just drop him in there.
So that we've talked about, what our fantasies were or lack of fantasies around weddings when we were growing up. Let's talk about now in reality. A lot of our friends are getting married or have been getting married. Like, how many weddings have you guys attended this year?
Well, for me, this is my first year of the wave of weddings.
Yeah.
So I went to 2 this year already.
Okay.
Just 2.
The wave is just starting for you. 'Cause
It's kind of weird.
You're in your mid-20s.
Yes.
And then, Helen, you've attended how many this year?
This year I probably attended about 3.
About 3. That's a good amount. I actually, this year, it was also, I think it might be only 1 or 2, but it's a slow year for me. So I'm like 32. I had a bigger wave in my late 20s. There were some years where I was like in 2 weddings and attended like another 2.
Oh my God.
In 1 year.
In 1 year, yeah. Have you guys ever been in weddings?
Not yet.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was
God,
my
it's stressful. But
sister's maid of honor. It is.
yeah, so oh my God,
pretty
maid of honor
stressful.
is like, yeah.
I think one thing you don't realize is that it's very expensive to be in someone's bridal party.
It is.
Oh,
It
really?
is.
Yeah, because, you have to, plan everything, but also, like, the bridal shower and
Yeah.
then the bachelorette party.
Yep.
My sister's in Boston, so her bridal shower had to go back to Boston.
Oh,
and
so
then,
flying back, yeah.
And then her bachelorette party was in Cancun. And then her wedding was in Hawaii. So I'm like, dude.
Oh my gosh. But isn't the bridesmaid dress also really expensive?
It depends. I've been in weddings where like the bride will decide a set style and then everyone has to pay. It's like the same. It's like a set price.
Yeah.
But more and more, I think a lot of the popular way to go is the bride will set a color scheme and then let all the bridesmaids choose their own cut and style. And so then you have like control over what type of pricing or brand that you want. But I mean, regardless, you know that it's like a really special day. Photos are going to be taken. So as a bridesmaid, you're still thinking like you need something kind of nicer, right? So yeah, there's a base price of that. Bridal showers, bachelorette parties. So for the bridal shower, older tradition, it's supposed to be hosted and financed by older women in the family. So it's like usually the bride.
Really?
Yeah, like
Okay,
I think
that didn't happen.
usually it's like the mother of the bride or the mother of the groom or the grandmas or like aunts. But I feel like more and more popularly now it's like hosted by the bridesmaids because usually it's like the bachelorette party is hosted by the bridesmaids, right?
Yeah.
But nowadays, if you're part of a wedding, you're gonna have to host 2 parties. You do the bridal shower and then you also do the bachelorette party.
Oh my God.
And then, the day of the wedding, if you're in the wedding, you're getting up at like 6 a.m. in the morning to get your makeup done. It's a full day. If it's like a noon time, like 11 or 12, or if it's later in the afternoon, 2 or 3, you're still up at like 6 a.m. because they have, like 6 or 7 girls to go through to do the hair and the makeup. And so, and the bride is there and she's probably I think fairly, if it was me, I would also have some freakouts during that day.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they don't sleep very well the night before.
So it sounds like no one asked Janet to go to be in their bridal party. This is too stressful.
I've done it a couple times already. So
I don't
no,
wanna
but
do
actually,
anymore.
If you're listening.
after a couple times, you get used to it, I guess. But
Yeah.
that has also affected, I think, what I want for my wedding because I've seen that and I've been in it. I'm like,
see.
when you do a really elaborate ceremony and like a reception,
Right.
it's such a long day. Like
Yeah.
it's literally like 6 a.m. until like 2 a.m. or something, So I'm like, I think I can do without that.
Yeah.
So that's why you just want to do kind of the
I
courthouse.
kind of want
get
to
it
do
over with.
simple, yeah.
Yeah.
But the truth is, even if you do the courthouse, if you're going to have a huge bridal party, no matter the venue, it's going to be like an early morning to get everyone ready.
Talking to my friend who just got married, she said, as a bride, you also have to consider like who to ask for your bridesmaids because financially, like you said, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
It may not be the best decision to ask certain people because sometimes your idea as to what you want for a bridesmaid to spend isn't what they could afford.
Right.
And talking to my other manager who's also got engaged, talking about with your husband or fiance, how many people do you want in your bridal party? Because she wants like 5 or 6 and he wants 11 guys. And she's like, well, I don't have 11 girls to fill.
Yeah.
Actually, in the last wedding I went to, there was a guy that balanced out, like, I think there were 3 women and 5 men. And then one of the guys actually stood on the women's side, the bridesmaid side, just to balance it out.
Oh, interesting.
Do you guys care about that? Because people think about this for photos.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe I'd obviously probably thought about it.
we've talked about the dress, the venues, day of the wedding, who we're going to cut out of our weddings. What about the most expensive part, the ring? Melody? Because I know
yeah, we know you have.
All right, so I was actually talking about this with my mom. She said, if your husband can't afford a 1 carat ring, 1 carat diamond ring, I don't know if I would be okay with him marrying you. Because I think in
Savage.
her... I know, right? I was like, oh, man.
No pressure for your man.
Sorry, dude. So I think for the ring size or the amount of the money for the ring, it equates to how you can take care of me and provide for us financially.
Right, yeah.
In terms of my preference for a ring, I think at least a 1 carat ring would be nice. I'm not even talking about clarity or cut, just size-wise.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. What is 1 carat? How big is that?
I don't really know how to measure it, but yeah.
Can you
size
tell? Like,
matters?
if you look at if you look at a ring, you're like, ooh, that's a 3.
Yeah, can you size it up? If we went to a jewelry store right
I think
now,
it depends
we
on
would
the
know.
cut.
That's a
On
1.
it depends on the cut of the ring. If it's just one solitaire I mean just solid rock or just solid stone, then you could tell more. Versus now the trend, it's like cushion cut, halo ring. There's different types of design.
What's the type that you want?
I would prefer solitaire. Just a simple,
This is more traditional.
and
Classic,
then you want something timeless.
Do you want like the diamonds going around the diamond?
I think
Janet's description.
I think that okay. I might have to Google this, but I think the diamonds going around the rock is called a halo.
Oh,
Is that right?
Yeah, no, I think that's right.
A lot of girls get that to make the diamond look bigger.
Right,
actually.
right.
Yeah, it's like smaller diamonds around the main diamond, right? Yeah.
And it catches more light, so it looks a little bit more bling.
Yeah. I actually don't want. I used to want that, but I think now having just a solitaire that works perfectly for me. Something simple and timeless.
I'm kind of warming up to the idea of more of a classic engagement and wedding ring now, but when I was growing up, or even as recent as like a couple of years ago, and I still think about this, I kind of want just a simple band. Or a thing that some people do is they get like a tattoo, which I think is like more meaningful. It doesn't have to be a tattoo of a ring, because I don't know like visually how I'd like that, but maybe if you do like each other's initials and maybe your wedding date on the inside of your ring finger, I feel like that's a little bit more.
That is so. I'm stealing that idea.
Dude, Janet, you're like kind of badass. Getting a tattoo instead of a ring?
I mean, I feel like because like I don't really wear a lot of jewelry, so I feel like that would serve the purpose in like a different way.
That's so cute.
That's so cool.
I love it.
But what about Helen? Have you thought about your ring? And I think for you, you've been dating someone for a while now.
I know.
Do you guys talk more seriously about these things?
And I mean, you're kind of hitting the age where a lot of people tend to get engaged.
You call me old?
Oh, Mel.
Oh, sorry, Janet. No, I'm sorry, Janet. I don't mean it that way. Oh, shit. But I think since the fact that Helen is hitting that age and she is in a long-term relationship, this probably has crossed your mind.
Sure, and it's a little awkward because he's in the room right now. But it's okay.
Spill, girl. Spill it. I don't fucking care.
Are we talking about the ring?
Let's start with the
Okay.
ring. Yeah.
Start small.
So I actually picked out my sister's ring.
Okay.
Funny thing about me and my sister is that we're very different in that I'm a little more like out there with my style and she's a little bit more simplistic. But if you give us like a whole wall of jewelry, we usually pick out the exact same one.
Oh, interesting.
It's really
similar
strange.
taste in jewelry.
Right. So my brother-in-law now, he actually had me fly over to Boston and I helped him pick out a ring that was
Wow.
a ring that I wanted.
What a good sister.
And it turned out to be like her perfect ring. That was exactly what she wanted.
So Helen knows exactly what ring.
Yeah, but it kind of has maybe changed a little bit. So I picked out a solitaire for her.
Okay.
Just very simple, classic, timeless. But I kind of like the halo look and maybe like diamonds around the band.
Oh, of course. You need
Diamonds
that.
around
You need
diamonds.
that.
Not all the way
diamonds.
around, not under or whatever it is, but like just a little bit on the side, maybe like 2 or 3 would be nice. He's getting up now. But I know rings are like super expensive. It's supposed to be like 3 to 4 months of someone's salary,
right.
pre-tax. Like, definitely get insurance on it. And I know a lot of people don't get rings because of sort of like the ethicalness behind it.
I had some friends, they opted for the diamond that's like made in a lab. I forgot what it's called, but for the reason of it being ethically sourced. Have you guys thought about that? Is that something that concerns you at all?
That sounds like it would be a lot more expensive too.
It was
not
actually
saying it's a bad
cheaper.
thing. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was cheaper. But I think there was a little bit of like, I don't know if this is more prevalent in like Asian culture, or probably not so much Asian culture, just as like with like older generations. I think her parents might have been a little bit more like pushback, because for them, similar to Mel, your mom, like wanting a minimum price, it's like a showing for like that guy's like dedication to you. And they felt like, oh, the ring is supposed to represent the marriage. And if you're getting this thing that's made in a lab, like it feels false or like inauthentic. And so they're like, don't be so new agey and like, like it's tradition to get the diamond. And her and her husband went with the lab ring because that was their personal ethical preference.
I think my parents prefer the traditional route. I know other families too that instead of getting a new ring, they want to use like their grandma's ring that they got passed down.
I think that's super meaningful.
That makes sense. I think it's nice to have something that's passed down.
Yeah.
Personally, in my family, I don't have a ring like that, but I would want my ring to be that ring that I pass down to like my daughters or like whoever is down the line. Have
you guys thought about what you want your husband's ring to be? I know it's supposed to be his choice, but you know, like it's like a matching thing. No.
Should we?
I think just a band, like whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's usually a band.
Yeah. But then I know friends are like, oh, I want a black band.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I feel like when I've seen my friends get married, a lot of their husbands like had a preference because they want it to look like masculine.
Oh,
you
yes.
know?
It's usually like the material too.
Yeah. Is
they
it
have a preference
titanium or is that, I don't know, one of those where it
These
looks like a
platinum
darker
bands.
steel kind of.
Wait, I have a question too. Since for Helen, sorry,
yes, back to me.
Speaking of marriage, would you want to change your last name? Or even Janet, would you guys want to change your last name?
I think I would probably want to either hyphenate it. I guess I haven't really thought about this. Either hyphenate or change.
I think it's going to depend on the last name of whoever my person is. I don't know. I do consider more and more maybe keeping my last name. I feel like a lot of my friends are doing that now, but I haven't really thought about it deeply.
I guess the question is when you have kids, like whose last name do they take?
Would they take? I think that's the main thing is like if you think about a family, it could get kind of confusing or even like administratively. I don't. Yeah.
It's more practical almost.
It's more practical to change your last name. Yeah.
True.
But I mean, if his last name's like, what if it goes really bad with my first name?
I have a lot of friends and family members whose last name is like Ho, or my sister's last name is now Po.
Oh, Po.
But it's cute.
Yeah.
She changed it.
Did she hyphenate or she changed?
No, she changed it completely. Yeah.
So the wedding I went to back in October, she and her husband both hyphenated their last names.
Oh,
that's really
so
nice.
he took on
He
her
took
last
on her
name
last
also.
name.
Yeah.
His last name was Armas and her last name was Fan, so they both did Armas Fan.
Well, that's pretty long though.
Yeah, but they both changed it with that. I thought that was really cute. I think I like my last name just like Janet, but at the same time, like I have to consider my partner. Because I think for a guy, they kind of like if a woman takes her last name.
That's probably the more popular perspective.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to make my husband take my last name.
Ooh! Wait, time out. What if your husband is Wang? You doing Wang Wang?
That would work really well. Actually, I have some of my my really good friend, her parents, they were both last names were fam, and when they got married, no one had to change their last name.
Yeah.
So maybe I should just look for
But what if your husband's like, what if he's like, babe, let's hyphenate our last names. Let's be Janet Wang Wang and blank Wang Wang. Right?
Janet's husband's gonna have to take Janet's last name.
Yeah.
Get married at a courthouse, even if he wants like a lavish wedding.
preferences. Everything's up for discussion, but you know, that's the direction I'm going.
If that's you, drop it in a DM if you're interested.
I think right now we're hitting the age of parents' expectation for us to get married. Are you guys getting hit with questions from your family? And do you feel a sense of pressure with time?
My parents are pretty good about not putting pressure on me. They let me, do my thing. But I have, the last couple of years, gotten more just like the casual. So, are you dating anyone? Or like, oh, happy birthday, you're 30. So, like you're on the other side now. But there's no, I think they ask. But they also know that it's a really important decision. My parents constantly told me and my sister, when it comes to choosing your partner, it's like one of the biggest decisions in your life, and there's a lot of things to consider. So they know it's like you should be at a place where you meet someone and it's thoughtful and it's not like rushed into.
That's really nice.
I get it. Like my parents do pressure me, but not as much as like my grandma and
Grandparents.
my grandparents.
That's true.
Because there's like a timing difference.
Yeah. For them too,
Oh,
they're like
you're right.
30 and you're not married. Jeez,
Right.
I had 3 kids by the time.
Well, that and plus they're like not getting any younger, and so they want to like
they
be able
wanna
to
see-
see
yeah, and they
all
wanna
of
be able
this
to be for their
happen, right?
grandchildren or
So I get it.
great-grandchildren.
Like my mom has a little bit more of a filter, but like my grandma's just like that's the first thing she says when she sees me. She's like, "Are you married yet? you getting married yet? What's your ring?
How about you, Miss Melody? Do your parents kind of push you?
No. I think honestly my parents are so used to me being single that they're like, oh, okay, like it's fine. Like you
They
do
just
you.
you have a boyfriend now. They're
Yeah,
like,
pretty
"Good,
much.
keep that steady for
But
now."
my uncle, so I guess since I've been single for so long, I never brought anyone back. He thought for the longest time I'd never wanted to get married. And I told him, we're having a conversation. I was like, yeah, I want to get married one day. He's like, oh my God, thank God. He was so relieved to hear that I actually wanted to get married. And I'm like, dang. But I've been single for that long. I gave off the vibe that I didn't want to get married. Because like, I definitely have friends who don't want to get married. But for me, that's something I definitely want in the future. So
Wait, so your girlfriends who don't want to get married, how old are they and like what has been the reasoning behind their thinking?
my friends who are my age and are older, they are happy with a partner, but they just don't want to get married. They don't see that as a necessary act.
Actually, I was just reading this article about how there's like a huge shift in the housing market. So in the past, and I think maybe what we know also is that there's like universally coveted dream of like a 4-bedroom, 2,500 square foot home in the suburbs. And now it's more of like a transition to living in smaller houses and condos in more urban areas where you have more proximity to like your job and your friends and whatnot. So a lot of people are actually like delaying their marriage or even having babies in order to live out a more fun lifestyle.
I think I've heard of that. I mean, it's not even just in the US, it's in Asia. I think there's a huge impact on the culture there because a lot of women are like choosing their jobs over starting families. But it's interesting to me that your friends, so they are dating and they have a partner, they just don't, like, do they plan to stay forever with their partner and they just don't want the convention of...
Yeah, it's both. My friend Sally, she's like, doesn't want kids and doesn't want to get married. That's all she says. And I didn't really ask her why. So Helen, you brought up the whole housing situation. For me, recently into a relationship, I feel like I'm the opposite of that now. Like my mind kind of...
You're starting to think
I'm starting to think about, I want that house in the suburbs. I always wanted a house in the suburbs, but that low-key lifestyle sounds really appealing to me. Like getting a dog and having a house. It just sounds like, that sounds nice.
That's all the...
It sounds really
I could
really
totally
nice.
see you. White picket fence with your 2.5 kids, whatever the average
It's just 2 kids.
with a
2.5. How do you get the 0.5?
I mean, I enjoy going out, but it's nice doing the low-key things. It just sounds like really nice.
I actually always kind of fantasized about raising a family in the city in like a chic condo.
Like a penthouse.
Yeah. Like,
With their cool
or living
tattoo.
Well, but the thing is, I did grow up in the suburbs, right? And so as I get older, I start to think more practically. And I have friends who are entering the stage into like talking about kids. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. Like, you want to live in the city, but have you thought about school systems? And have you thought about safety for your family? And like different things like that I'm like, oh, damn. Like maybe it's not so... It seems nice as a fantasy, but I don't know how practical it'll be when the time actually comes.
Yeah.
That's so crazy to think that like we're all going to be living in the suburbs one day.
This is what marriage does to you. That thought just comes about. Oof. Do you have a timeline since you're in a relationship? Do you want to get engaged by a certain time?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good... I mean, when I was like in my 20s, I was like, oh, I'm going to get married by 26, but that didn't happen. And then I was like, oh, maybe 28. That didn't happen. Now almost 30. But I think for me, it's less of like a timeline pressure, but more of a, is this right? And then once I feel like it's right and I think that he's the one, then I'm going to start. And I guess I kind of have been starting to think more about that. Slap that smile off your face.
Wait, time out. You brought up a good point. Is he the one?
Don't.
Oh.
And wait,
He's in the room.
sorry, but also this also is a question because the one is defined in so many different ways.
Right.
So how do you define the one? And also, is he the one? So,
Just for our friends' knowledge.
Did you grow up thinking and believing in this concept of the one, or did that change when you met him, or like how?
Yeah, I think there are many the ones for people. Like there are several people who could be the one. It depends on like time, circumstance, and like
I totally agree.
all of that.
Me too.
So there's probably not like one. I used to think when I was younger, like there's one guy out there.
Me too.
Like when I was in Boston, in California, and he's walking around just like me right now. I'm gonna meet him one day.
I feel that way too.
I feel like media, like that's when you grow up watching movies, that is what you're taught to believe, right? That there's like your soulmate, the one person, and that like there's no one else, and it's like you two are destined for each other.
I do agree there's multiple partners that you're probably meant for, but due to timing, you always end up with a certain person though.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's kind of like a timing soulmate, right?
Yeah.
I was single for so long. I thought, man, I'm never going to find someone, whatever. But then there's one time when I had to tell myself, I wrote this like blog out. And I said, I think when the timing is right, this person is out there. He's walking and breathing right now in this moment. It just, timing hasn't lined us yet. But when that time comes, it's meant to be.
Yeah, I think that's very sweet.
That's cute.
Anyways, Helen, is he?
So he's the one, Miss Helen.
When you first start your relationship, you're obviously thinking that this person has potential, and we talked
Right.
about that before. Like there has to be future potential or like husband material,
Exactly.
right? So that was definitely there. But it isn't until you like have arguments and you realize that this other person really wants to adapt and like change their ways in order to work with you. So I think it's very easy to like have chemistry with someone and always have like good, happy times where you're always like on endorphins, you're always on a high. But I think what matters most is when you are in those moments of tension where you're trying to work things out with someone. And if he's willing to work with you, then I think that makes a huge difference in a relationship. So yeah, for me, I think that kind of identified whether or not he could be the one.
Do you guys have a certain vision or an intention to incorporate Asian traditions into your wedding, or having a separate ceremony that addresses that?
I thought about it. I don't know if I would want an Asian banquet.
Yeah.
Because I talked to my mom. She's like, well, you're already having like an American wedding. I don't personally feel like we need to throw a banquet.
Oh, that's great. I feel like usually the pressure comes from the parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
But granted, I haven't talked to my partner about this yet.
Right.
So that
Maybe
also,
if
his parents
would
yeah,
want
his
it. I think if his
parents
parents would want it, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Because you make more money back, right? Yeah. I was just kidding.
Get those red envelopes.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think I want to think of, I haven't looked into it yet, but maybe adding more like traditional like ceremony things into my American wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that's really popular in Taiwan actually is when couples get engaged and for their wedding, they take these really beautiful studio pictures.
Oh, yeah. I've
And-
seen a lot of those. Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely want to fly back and take those photos and give it to like my family members and have at the wedding.
Do you
for
think
me.
about that, Helen?
So I would want a Chinese wedding just because a traditional wedding, because my parents would definitely want it. Like for my sister, it was more of like a check the box kind of thing for her,
Okay.
where she saw her Hawaii wedding as her real wedding, and then
Right.
she's like, okay, I have to go
I'll
and do
just do
this.
this for the
And then
family,
kind of
yeah.
just seeing like all these different traditions, like she was kind of being pushed and like some crazy stuff. I mean, I can't say anything against it because that's just how like my parents have grown up and my
Right.
grandparents and everyone in China. But,
Yeah.
So I respect that, and so I would definitely go through with it. I think I would just have it for my parents, and also I'm not going to invite 400 people to my destination wedding. That's people that I don't even know. So.
That's true.
So it's kind of like spreading out the celebration so that you accommodate. You can still like do something with them, but they don't have to be at your main event.
Right, right. And then like Mel said, use that money to fund my own wedding. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, fam. Just kidding. How about you, Janet?
I don't think my parents will push to do any kind of big traditional thing, but they probably will want to throw just like a dinner with like close family and friends. But I mean, in terms of like the, wearing the traditional dress and like doing all those things, I don't even know, and I don't even think that they really care about that. So
But one thing we're really missing in this equation is our partner,
yes,
right?
What do you mean?
well, I am. You two kind of have potential.
It's definitely too early to talk about that with my boo. But I think in terms of Asian weddings, it depends if your partner is Asian, right?
Right.
So I can't really be like, I definitely want this. I think it
No,
depends.
but even if I would think that if I were marrying someone who was not Asian and my parents still wanted an Asian wedding, like
Still have
he
it.
would have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, because I don't feel a strong sense of priority of that for my family, like unless my husband, like unless their family really wants it, it probably won't, we'll do a banquet, but I don't
Yeah.
think there will be like traditional dress or that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'm on the same boat with Janet. So we'll both be there at Helen's banquet.
They have good ass food, dude.
Should means I give you money.
Hung baos.
Hong Bao's flying.
Make it rain on me.
Okay, so I do want to ask you ladies, have you noticed that as you're getting older, when you go to weddings now, do you feel like you get more emotional?
I cry at every wedding.
Yeah, it's usually like the moment when the bride's walking down the
Yes.
aisle with
Oh my God.
the dad.
Yes. That starts the tear, yeah. I feel like, because I went to weddings starting when I was like in my mid-20s, and even though they were really close friends, it felt like, yeah, we're celebrating and this is great. But the last couple of years, every wedding I go to, like every time, once the bride starts walking down, if they say
Yeah.
vows, oh my God.
Oh, it's done.
It's just waterworks
Yeah.
the whole time.
Or even like the first dance with the
with the
father.
dad.
With the dad,
the
yeah.
mom for
Not
the
even with the
groom,
groom.
yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, cool. But with the dad, it's like, oh shit.
The last wedding I went to, the groom walked down first with both parents, and all three of them were crying.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
damn, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, put on my sunglasses. I can't do this right now.
It is touching, I feel like, when you see the groom crying.
Oh, yeah. I really hope my groom cries. Yeah, you better cry.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this episode about weddings and marriages. I feel like I learned a lot from the youngest member of our team.
Yeah, she's got her
Mel.
Pinterest board all ready to go.
If you guys want, I'd be happy to share it with you. I thought Janet she's so freaking badass. She was a tattoo.
Yeah, I see her like riding away on a motorcycle with like
Oh,
candles.
totally.
Oh no, no, I
Hand in the
don't. I
back.
don't do motorcycles. No, not that.
She's like, I do mopeds instead.
But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this topic. It was a lot of fun to talk about. If you guys have any dreams that you want to share with us about what you envision for your wedding or your wedding dress or maybe things about marriage, send us an email at asianbossgirl@gmail.com or, direct message us on IG.
Or leave us wedding bells emoji on our latest Instagram post.
Ding, ding, ding. And we are coming to the end of this season. It's been really fun watching our podcast listeners kind of grow with us and interact with us. If you have enjoyed it, please share it with your friends.
Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us a review if you like what you've been hearing. And we'll catch you guys another time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ding, 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 ding. Wedding bells?
That works.